And welcome to another edition of the Wake Up Late with Dougie show. I am your host, Dougie Almeida, coming to you from Simpsonville, South Carolina, where my house is cracking up. I got fucking lines and shit. I got structural issues. Not happy. Hopefully we'll get through this podcast without me falling through the floor. Anyway, we're back. A couple weeks off of traveling around and getting flights canceled and all kinds of shit. And fucking Delta. I had to use Uber. I had flight canceled. Had to get to Uber at 6 a.m. They canceled the flight. I had to take Uber back. They wouldn't reimburse me. So guess what? Delta, no more. Fuck you. Going to take Southwest. Anyway, we'll talk a little more about that and much more here on the Wake Up Late with Dougie show with my guest today. He's been on here before several times. You know him. You love him. Put your hands together for Steve Mudflap McGrew.
Yeah! But do they really love me? Do they really?
Yeah. You know, the liberals especially. They love you.
Oh, they absolutely love me.
Well, you know, we don't want to be weird, and we'll get into that that discussion since that's the word of the day. But, man, welcome.
Well, welcome. I'm glad to see you. Glad Delta didn't drop you off somewhere.
You know, it's so weird. So I was supposed to be in Detroit for the World Series of Comedy last Monday. Not this past Monday, but the week before. And, 6 a.m. flight, got to get up at 4 a.m, take Uber, like $60, whatever it is. Get there, sitting there waiting. Oh, well, we're missing one flight attendant. Everybody's like, who gives a shit? We got 2 flight attendants. You know what I mean? Let's go. And they end up canceling.
We need 3.
Yeah, people are like walking around like, well, we don't need to get that much water. We can drink. It's only a little over an hour flight. I mean, how important is that flight attendant? It's not like the pilot's missing. And it's just stupid. So then they cancel the flight. So then I go back to my house and it's like, okay, well, I was supposed to be on the Monday night show. I'm not going to make it. Somebody was like, well, why don't you go to Atlanta and Charlotte? I go, fuck you. I'm not going to go all over the fucking place and try to catch a flight now. And so I had to cancel my hotel, cancel the rental car, and, all that shit. And then, thank goodness, the World Series of Comedy switched me with somebody the next day. They said, you can come back on Wednesday. I had somebody switch with you on Monday. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, guess what? Now I got to get another fucking flight. Well, Delta was doing all of that CrowdStrike horseshit. So then I went on Southwest. I booked a flight. You have to fly somewhere to Baltimore and then to Detroit.
Yeah.
Get there. Everything goes great. I make it to the semifinals. Things are good. And then I'm supposed to fly from Detroit to Pittsburgh on Friday. And I thought, you know what? And I look it up. It's a 4-hour drive. I'm like, no, I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to cancel the flight, get my money back, and drive, right?
Yeah.
There's a lady at the counter at Dollar rental car in the Detroit airport. I told her, I said, oh, this has been a crazy week. I thought I'd cancel my flight. She's like, well, I wouldn't do that. I would have flown. I fly all the time. I'm like, oh, really? You mean you, the agent for the rental car place, is telling me I shouldn't have rented this car? And she made me feel like an idiot. She's like, oh, yeah, well, that's what I would have done. I'm like, well, fuck, bitch. I'm just telling you how bad my week's been. You're telling me that I'm an idiot? I love when they give you the surveys. Would you like to tell us your experience with Dollar rental car? Oh, yeah, I do.
So how much was it to rent the car?
Believe it or not, I rented one of those smaller SUVs, and I picked it up in Detroit, dropped it off in Pittsburgh. That's usually a lot of money, but it was only $125. And I paid for the toll thing for the days. There was $150 total.
Still beat the airline ticket?
Oh, yeah, because that was like $300 and something bucks one way,
Oh, so there you go.
Yeah, it worked out.
So you went to the Dollar Tree of rental cars.
Dude, never again. And I feel so bad when you do the surveys like that ask you from 1 to 10, from extremely unlikely to very likely, rate us. Would you refer us to anybody extremely unlikely? Extremely unlikely.
1.
Yeah, exactly. 1. Look like a computer thing going. So nevertheless, so then, okay, I had to fly home on Monday. By the way, I had a great time at the Pittsburgh Improv this weekend, Friday through Sunday. opening for Steve Trevino, and what a staff at the Pittsburgh Improv, phenomenal. We had great shows, so that was an amazing weekend. So Monday, 2 o'clock flight, take it easy, get back. Oh well, we have a delay. Oh fuck, here we go. So instead of getting home at 4 o'clock, I got home at midnight on Monday.
Uh,
Just completely screws up the day. So now and then, Delta today reaches me back like, well, we looked at your reimbursement request for the Uber. It's like 80, $90 going back and forth that day. They canceled. Well, since you don't have the date and the specific dollar, whatever, all this shit, which was part of, I took a screenshot of my Uber, that day.
yeah,
You have my flight number. You knew the flight was at 6. I drove in at 4:40, whatever it was. You know what I mean? And then when it can't,
yeah.
and they said, so I wrote them back. I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to find a new airline. Thank you. And then they wrote me back again, like, well, we're going to relook at this. And I'm like, yeah, go fuck yourself. You fucking, you know what I mean? Get it right the first time. So
Well,
fucking
they
travel.
did that to me years ago when they lost a suitcase of mine that had a lot of my Western wear in it, my expensive Western shirts and a pair of boots and about $1,500 worth of stuff, and they wanted receipts for everything.
Yeah.
That they
Like you got them in a
reimbursed
drawer.
me with who has any receipt for any shirt you ever bought? Who has
Yeah.
receipt?
Can you, man?
You have receipts for some shoes you bought?
Can you, man? I'm going to keep every fucking receipt of every piece of clothing I buy just in case the airlines lose my shit.
Yeah,
No. Yeah, and nowadays with digital, everything's digital. Everything, you get a receipt on your phone when you buy something with your credit card. So then you got to try to
yeah,
remember, when did I buy that shirt? I think I bought it in March of 2018. Maybe if I go back in my history, you know, it's the
yeah,
stupidest thing,
yeah.
man.
Well,
That's
why
why you
should
should
I
take
have to
pictures
go
of it.
back? Bro, but again, I was pissed off too. Like, why? Well, they were like, well, you could probably look it up online and see what the shirt was, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why am I being the detective? Why is this all you lost my stuff?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
go find out what you owe me.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. How about you just find the damn suitcase, stupid? And of course, our transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg, Mayor Pete, he's all over this shit.
Yeah.
Fucking guys.
You, this has been the worst. I don't know I really don't know what a transportation secretary does other, than just breastfeed babies. But this has been the worst, like train wrecks, train derailments, fires, planes crashing, planes going off schedule, airports closing down, computers. Like, what has he done?
Yeah. Well, if he's doing anything like president, they showed a schedule today of President Biden's calendar. I think he's having lunch tomorrow somewhere. He's got 2 days of doing nothing. And then I think on Friday, he's got some sort, it's like he's doing shit. Like no one's running the country. No one is
No, well,
running the
well,
country right now.
Kamala is
Yeah.
pretending to be president. Have you noticed that? Like, she's just
Yeah.
out in every. Like, what is your thoughts on the killing of the guy in Iran? Like, ask Biden that question.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just really disgusting. And that'll be interesting. With that's pretty much happened before I put the questions together. So we'll definitely want to talk about that. Well, why don't we? Here we are. We are rudderless as a country. We have a demented, old father dementia as our president. Our vice president is a complete fucking loon that all of a sudden, she went from the worst elected official in history that the Democrats are like, she's the next Obama. I mean, God almighty. And she's flip flopping on
Right?
everything. Yeah. And here's the
Well,
funniest fucking argument. Here's the funniest. Let's talk about this. As a matter of fact, it's one of the questions here. And let me ask you. They're saying that she was never designated. This is the big liberal talking point. Well, she was never labeled the czar. Well, what the fuck you want to call it? Are you saying that it wasn't put in her hand to take care of the illegal immigration? You're saying that? Like, okay, was she the fucking immigration janitor? What do you want to call it? She
yeah,
was in charge to handle the border issue, and she fucked up. What are you gonna? Oh, she
right.
wasn't the
And
czar though.
if it wasn't a disaster, if it wasn't an absolute total disaster, she'd be like, I am the czar. I took care of this. She'd be claiming it
Exactly.
like crazy. But now she's like, no, 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 that I had nothing to do with that mess.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody, I just don't understand how these folks think we're going to completely forget just 3 or 4 years ago. Like, we have no capability of remembering these things. And, and,
Well,
and
I,
we do,
I
though.
didn't forget. I retweeted her 1919 the tweet that she did when she announced that Biden had made her in charge of the border. I went and got that and I retweeted her tweet of like, so
Yeah.
is you're saying you didn't say this,
Yeah. And it's just, so are you saying she had nothing to do with the border? Is that what we're saying? Like, so it's just
Well, you know what?
amazing the desperate.
You know what was really stupid? Remember the interview she did with somebody? I can't remember who did the interview with her, but we're like, well, you haven't been to the border. Well, I haven't been to
Right.
Europe either. I don't
Yeah.
understand your question. Like, okay,
Yeah.
two reasons you're an idiot. You confused Europe and the border in Mexico, and you can't figure out why he's asking you that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't I don't
Why you
understand
asking?
your point. Your point is your borders are, and you've never been to the border.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like saying I'm an exterminator, but I've never been in the house. Yeah.
Yeah.
I take care of all the bugs in your house, but I've never been in your house. So, but
Well,
just call me the bug czar.
I psychically I'm a psychic bug
Yeah.
exterminator.
Yeah. I
They're all
wish
dead
them
now.
away. Yeah, all roaches. You see any? No, you don't see any. So look at it. It's great. Unbelievable, dude. Just what we're looking at here. Well, let's do it. Let's go that. And let's go back to the big thing from a couple weeks ago. What was Trump's assassination attempt an inside job, Steve?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Look, I said that from I was watching it live when it happened. I mean, I was actually, and I was, what the, and I felt like everybody else, like he's down, he's been shot. I was in my hotel room, like, oh, that kind of. And when he got up and did his fist, like, oh yes. But I thought that has to be an inside job. That that close, that thing. And now I don't know if you saw my tweet the other day. I said that all these senators are asking about mistakes. Well, how is it possible that somebody wasn't on that roof? Or how is it possible that he was allowed to come on out on the stage? Because they wanted him dead. There's
yeah.
no
That's it. That's the
quit.
what's that? What's that scientific philosophy, Occam's razor, whatever it is? That sometimes the easiest so the easiest answer is really the answer, and that's what I said. I
Yeah,
think I posted on Facebook, like when all these conspiracy theories, every day that goes by, they just become that much more believable because how
yeah,
badly, here's the thing I was thinking about. I was just thinking about this. Supposedly, one of the things they said it was there was no way for the local police to communicate with Secret Service. Okay. Listen, my ex girlfriend can try to figure out a way to fucking reach me. You
right.
can't figure out. And how about this? If I was a police officer and I saw a guy on the roof getting ready to shoot somebody, if I had a gun in my hand, like I would just shoot the gun off. I would just start shooting the gun in the air and to
She
get
in the
everybody's
air.
attention. Yeah, just hey, what the fuck's going on? Don't let them. But that is the two biggest things. You have a water tower that a sniper could have been watching from, and then I guess in the in
Yeah,
this in the discussion in the committee yesterday, they were saying how the Secret Service, the guy who took over the Secret Service, is like, well, he was obstructed from our view. Well, what kind of aren't you like? Here's the thing: you could have been a fucking Boy Scout, and if you're trying to protect the president, oh, is anybody on that fucking roof over there? No, we're not going to put anybody. Well, if we're not going to put anybody on it, can I at least see it? You know what I mean? Oh, I got this tree in the way. Oh, I'll just stand here and
yeah.
let the fucking tree block me.
Well, did you see the video that came out today from one of the guys that got shot twice? He was one of the guys that did. His video actually shows the shooter running across the roof and then come down while Trump is giving his speech. You see him run. And they just got his video because he's been shot. But you see the guy, like, what Secret Service didn't see somebody running on a roof 130
Yeah.
yards away?
And of course, our liberal friends are going to say, well, there's no proof. There's no, of course, there's yeah, listen, when the government is involved in things, they have a good way of hiding the evidence. If you plan
Yeah.
it out long enough, you know how to fucking hide your tracks in sense. That's always the thing that
Yeah.
I love. Like, well, there's no proof of it. Well, 96% of the crimes that are committed in this country go unsolved. You know why? There's no fucking evidence. Okay. So that doesn't mean the crimes weren't committed. That just means there's not
Right.
evidence to get anybody on it. And I love this argument. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so if I went up to you and put your phone down, why do you want me to do it? Just put your phone down. There's no cameras in here, right? No. Just punch the fucking person in the face and say, oh, well, you have no evidence I fucking did it. It's your word against mine, dickhead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we
Yeah.
need to be nowadays.
Yeah. But I totally am going with the inside job, because maybe it wasn't planned. Maybe it was like, ooh, we have a shooter. Shh, let it happen. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
look
Well,
away. And did he fire? Why they got him as soon as he fired? Obviously, somebody saw him. Bam, 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 out.
but when I was
You know?
watching, it was about less than, it was just about 10 seconds from the first few shots that they finally shot him. It wasn't right
Yeah.
away. And the thing, I don't believe that. I think, these encrypted things for these counts in Europe and stuff that he has, that they're having a hard time finding out. Here's my theory, my conspiracy theory. First of all, we all know that our government and the Biden administration have ties with, not ties, but they basically have a backdoor communication with Iran. And they wanted to bring them back to the nuclear deal and all this kind of shit, right? And that's why even Biden is like being so like problematic with Netanyahu. Like, oh, we're going to hold back some of this shit, and they keep trying to tell, missiles keep coming into Israel, and Biden's going, okay, restrain yourself. It's like somebody just sit there spitting in your face, smacking you in the fucking face, and somebody going, hey, just don't react. You know what I mean? And so that we have that. Yeah, we have that. And of course, even before before the October 7th attack on Israel, up to that point, Biden administration took Hamas off the terrorist list. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just take him off the list. Oh, we got to put him back, I guess. Then he puts him back on. So here's the thing. We know that with everything they try to do to keep Trump out of the election, the lawfare, right? They try to keep him off the ballot in your home state.
Yeah.
They did all this shit. And then even people were saying, you even had actresses, that dyke cunt that's on the fucking Orange is the New Black. She went out and said, we need to assassinate him. I don't know why she's still walking without going to prison.
Yeah.
Right.
You're
So
Madonna talking about wanting to burn the White House or bomb it or whatever,
Yeah. When he won. So that's next. And here, my friend says to me, he says, because I said, so what basically Trump or Biden was going to do was, listen, here's what we're going to do. Backdoor communications with Iran says, look, we're gonna take care of him for you, okay? And if we do, and when we do, we're gonna broker a peace deal between you, and you're gonna pull Hamas is gonna bring back the hostages, and Biden's gonna look like a hero at the time of the election. Unfortunately, Biden stumbled and bumbled in his debate. Everybody, and then it finally was recognized after every Republican on earth was going, he's fucking brain dead. And the liberals are going, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You just worship the orange Jesus. Okay. And all this shit.
He
And then,
just stuttered. Why are you making fun of a man that stutters?
Yeah, stuttered. So so now everybody saw it. They couldn't hide it. Right. And then, of course, just by the grace of God, he turned his head and didn't get shot in the fucking back of the temple, the back part of his skull. Oopsie, I missed. So what happens now? We're in a new situation again. What's happening in Israel, and what's going on? So yeah, I have no doubt that there was purposed flaws in the system. And Cheadle was in on it. And I think there might have been one or two other people that are in the middle part of that said, like, when somebody, remember, they got the call that there were people that were watching the roof and they left their spot to go find this guy. Oh, how fucking convenient. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
how
somebody else said
convenient.
they left because it was too hot up there. Have you heard that one?
Yeah. Well, yeah, they said that the snipers couldn't be up there because it's too hot. Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine that? Oh, we can't go into battle right now because it's 84 degrees out there. So we're going to tell the Russians that we're going to hold our war. Like, what the fuck? Like, and anybody who has a general conscience, a general just understanding knows it's all bullshit.
Yeah. Well, that's what made me mad watching the thing yesterday, and like somebody asked the real question. Quit doing, well, why wasn't there somebody on the roof? Well, I went down and I laid on the roof myself and we had pictures. And why didn't somebody go, was this an assassination attempt and who is behind it? This is the direction the investigation needs to go. Not like,
Yeah.
well, we need to find out which mistakes were made. No, these were not mistakes.
Yeah.
This is an investigation to find out who tried to assassinate. Because they're making it look like there was some mistakes made by the Secret Service and the FBI. No, these are not mistakes. Somebody tried to assassinate him. That's the
Yeah.
direction it ought to be going.
Yeah, and they knew. I mean, there's so many other stupid things. He was flying a drone just hours before over the place.
But
there's
we
just
can't do
so
it.
much. Yeah, no, so there's, it's good. Who knows what we're going to find out with this current administration scrubbing everything. You already have a Department of Justice that has tried to take him out on the legal aspect of it. And now you got Biden claiming he thinks he's going to change the Constitution by putting term limits on the Supreme Court. What a fucking joke! Like you know what I mean? It's like, and he keeps talking about a dictatorship, how Trump is going to ruin the democracy. What do you mean? Like you did? Like you completely weaponized the Department of Justice? Like you're giving away billions of dollars to deadbeat college students, and you circumvent the Congress, who has the purse? You don't even go through them. So what the fuck are we talking about here? There's just too many fucking mistakes. The second part of this thing that's amazing is, with all the commotion that was going on before, they still let him go on the stage. That to me is the component of this that makes the conspiracy theory story hold water. All right.
Yeah.
Because it would be too easy. Like I said, somebody could have just shot a gun off and then the whole thing would have stopped because they heard gunfire and everybody would have fucking freaked out. But why didn't somebody do that? Why didn't somebody just start shooting off a gun instead of yelling? There's some fucking.
When it first happened, they were talking about how that it was 26 minutes that he got on their radar 26 minutes before. And now they're saying up to 90 minutes that he was seen, like 90, like with the rangefinder. And so they had 90 minutes to not communicate.
Yeah. Yeah. So you couldn't walk your fat ass over to the tower where they're at, and that's the amazing, again, that is the amazing part, that all you had to do is hold it up. He was suspicious, but he wasn't threatening. This is the semantics of the horse shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah. Well, your job is, suspicion is enough to not let a president out, to me.
Yeah.
He hadn't gone to the threat. He hasn't moved up the one notch yet. Well, how about we check that before we put him out there?
So let me get this straight. The Secret Service, right? They won't act on suspicion of somebody walking around with a rangefinder and going around. He had a backpack, and two other people recognize him as being suspicious. But you want me at the airport to say something or see something, say something. We want every citizen in this country to, you see something, say something. Well, not if you're in the fucking Secret Service.
But did you see how many people in videos were going, there's a guy up on the roof. There's a guy over there. There's a guy. I'm saying something. I'm saying something.
Exactly. In the Secret Service, the guys with glasses are like, hey, quiet. I'm trying to wait for the president to come out. Not even fucking looking. Unbelievable, man.
Well, you know what's I'm praying that it all falls apart and the truth comes out. I mean, I really want it because obviously they thought he was going to be taken out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now when this happened, they went, oh fuck. You know what I mean? Because now the plan is like, because if he shot him, the sniper got him, boom, it's over. And
everything's
now
gone. Wipe out everything else. Wipe out the evidence.
Yeah.
Everything's done. It was like Lee Harvey Oswald. He's gone. And
right.
And it's a funny thing because somebody said to me, I mentioned about Iran, and they're like, "Well, Iran had nothing to do with it." I go, "No, they didn't have anything to do with the actual murder, but they were in a backdoor deal." And so they're like, "Well, the guy says to me, if you really wanted it done, Iranians would have sent assassins." I go, "Here's the problem with that story." We find out an Iranian, there's a guy with a fucking turban on at the top of the thing, and he shoots the guy. We go to war with Iran. Okay, if it's proven and it showed any type of thing that it was an Iranian assassin, guess what? We're lighting up Iran, and then that's it. And,
right.
But if it's a fucking hooplehead who hasn't gotten laid since he was born, you know,
Yeah.
then, oh, that's okay. He was just a lone wolf and, you know, he's just disgruntled. He was anti-Semitic and he had all these fucking issues. And, you know, then you could just blame that, you know, oopsie. The Secret Service, oopsie.
Well, have you? This is my other conspiracy theory. Is that, you know, they were like, well, he was a registered Republican and he had all this anti-immigrant stuff. Yet he has another account that is all like liberal,
Yeah.
but he doesn't have a real. But there's no real social media presence. They're not finding like Facebook and Twitter. There's like two, just enough. And I think that's part of the whole plan. Like, we'll throw that out there, we'll throw this out there, and now they can just argue about this. And there's no
Yeah.
proof that he was either one, but each side can go, no, he was one of you. No, he was one of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it matters.
So again, that's part of a whole plan.
Yeah. And here's the next thing. The arguments, I don't know about you, but I've unfriended a dozen or so people, if not more, on Facebook. Okay. And we'll get into the other thing about the Olympic opening ceremony too, which is big. But, you know, when somebody posts, there's a comedian, older comedian in a certain area that keeps posting the thing that it was the glass from a teleprompter, of which there was no broken teleprompter from what I understand. But it was a microscopic piece of glass, because if a glass shattered, you know, if a bullet shattered something, you would have seen a spray of glass, you know, kind of fly at Trump. But it was just one microscopic piece of glass that cut his ear, not a bullet. There's a fucking picture showing a fucking bullet, like in
The
like
line
that
going
long,
behind his head.
and a line. It wasn't that. And there's still these douchebags. This one comic, he messaged me back. He's like, you unfriended me? I'm like, of course I unfriended me. You're fucking arguing with me and calling me an idiot because I don't believe your fucking theory about a piece of glass. You know, how, like, you know, why don't you just own up, for God's sakes? You know what I mean? Just admit it. Somebody tried to shoot the fucking guy. Just you don't.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to tell
one of your guys.
Yeah, I'm not trying to tell you to change your ideology. I'm not telling you to change your vote. I'm just telling you, don't be a fucking moron and tell me that it was a piece of glass and try to just completely dismiss the whole thing because you don't like what you're hearing, you know?
Yeah.
And
Well,
then people posted that photo.
Brick Suit? Do you know the guy Brick Suit? He wears a suit that looks like bricks, and he's at every one of Trump's rallies. He and I are friends on X Twitter. He posted a picture. He was in the front row, and he posted a picture up right after Trump had been shot that shows both teleprompters intact. And he posted about, now tell me about your shattered teleprompter thing.
Yeah.
You know, because that's not true. It's just, again, not true.
And then even today I saw that, and again, this was the reason I unfriended somebody else, because I look at this as, okay, it's a comic. I never met the comic. You know, he's just a friend. And I'm like, I don't need comic friends I don't know on my Facebook anymore. I'm just, you know, there's no need.
Yeah.
So he
I'm
posted
over
this
that
picture.
too.
He posted a picture of the .223 bullet, which is shot in an AR-15, right? And he says, this big ass bullet caused that little scratch on the ear. And then a few people came out and pointed out, well, dumbass, you know, when this thing's fired, the whole casing goes and all you have is this little projectile. You know what I mean? Are you aware of that, you fucking idiot? Like, you know, it's like, and even if it did, like, you how many movies have you even seen where somebody gets nicked? You know, that doesn't mean the bullet was smaller. It just means that, you know, like, it's
like taking it's a razor blade. Look at the size of this. Why didn't it just take off the side of your face? Why is there just a little tiny blood spot?
Yeah. And why do you have a Band-Aid? Well, you ever cut your fucking face? You got to walk around with that piece of toilet paper on your face all day because it just keeps bleeding. And you're right, your ear just it's all cartilage and shit. It just bleeds. It's just unbelievable, the ignorance and shit. All right. So, which gets us to the next story about the next situation about the Olympic opening, you know, ceremonies. Okay. First of all, I don't give a here's what I'm amazed with. All these Google fucking geniuses, and this is the label of Google genius story, that all of a sudden that are so in tune with Greek mythology. And you know what I mean? They saw something in the news.
There's the god of
and all of a
wine.
sudden, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, you never read Greek mythology? You don't, how dare you Christians only think one thing? I'm like, I actually had this girl as a comic here locally in South Carolina. She just posted this thing and like, I go to this community college where I'm learning art history and I'm like, you dumb fuck. Like, you know, like are you telling me every Christian is a fucking idiot compared to you because you're going to some rinky dink fucking technology college in Greenville, South Carolina?
College?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was dealing with a Mensa member here. And it's just enough. Like, fuck this, done. I don't want. Like, it does. My point is, it doesn't even fucking matter whether it was that or it was a combination of the two or some artistic revision of it. The fact is, it's not something you want to see when you have your kids in front of you when you're watching the Olympics, the opening ceremony of the Olympics. Some guy with his
Yeah,
balls
and
hanging
there's a
out, and a bunch of
nutsack.
yeah, and a bunch of fucking people, these pagans running around in debauchery. And even the Dionysus god was that. It was about debauchery. He's all about fun and vanity and all this shit. So don't give me
Yeah.
your fucking again, another ridiculous excuse to justify something just to be
Well,
right.
what made me even madder was when they keep saying it after they've admitted it. They've already admitted it. Even the big round Ozempic girl that
Yeah.
played Jesus, she
Yeah.
posted about what it was. So
Yeah.
they have acknowledged it. They've even said, "Now we're sorry that offended." But now people are still like, "No, that was the god of wine. That was the like."
Yeah.
Okay, it's one thing to be an idiot before you know the facts, but now they have admitted it, and you're
Yeah.
still lying about it.
The two things, right? That, by the way, I want to talk about the Ozempic girl, but one of the planners of it, one of the people that put it together, has said yes, it was a depiction of it. The final moment when they're all at that table, at that
Yeah,
moment, it's about the final supper. Okay, that
yeah,
moment that's what it's supposed to be. Everything prior to that, the dancing, the runway, was all the Dionysus shit. But then when they're all sitting at the table, it was a depiction of the final
that
supper.
was the representation.
Right.
Yeah,
And the Ozempic girl, by the way, I just read this morning, is all upset because she's trying to sue. Okay, she's trying to sue everybody because she's got death threats. That she's getting all these people threatening her. Somebody saying that they'll take her Oreos away. She's not happy. You know what I mean? Like, you think you if you this is the lack of owning up. These people that just don't have no character. You know what you're getting involved with, right? Like, if I tell a
yeah,
joke on stage about transgenders, I know I'm going to probably get something back for that, and I got to be prepared to handle the consequences of the joke. Okay. So
yeah,
don't go up there, you big fat fucking beast, and go up there pridefully and show that big fucking ugly face of yours and sit there gleefully, you're mocking my Lord, and then you're going to say you're upset with the consequences?
yeah.
Wait till she dies and she starts feeling the heat. Oh, it's getting warm. Where am I going? You know,
That big old thing will be on a rotisserie in hell.
yeah.
Just
Anybody else smell pork? I smell bacon. Oh, it's my feet.
well, and again, it goes back to, and everybody's saying this, so I'm not the first to say it, but I did say it when it first happened, was like, nobody ever does that to Mohammed. No,
Oh no, yeah.
nobody's making fun of Muslims ever. You know what I mean? But Christians, fine.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, we're all
one time.
just like the young lady, local comic around here. I wouldn't even know if I call her comic, but the local girl who's done comedy was even like demeaning us. Like, in other words, Christians, you guys just like generalizing every fucking Catholic or person of faith that we're all hooplehead
Yeah,
and stupid. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And you know what I mean. Meanwhile, this and I don't want to talk about money and stuff, but if you're living in a fucking shack, okay, if you're living in a double wide trailer and you're in your 30s and you still live with your fucking parents, don't you have no right to tell anybody that they're not fucking bright, okay? just
yeah,
just just shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Know to know thyself is to know God. And if you want to make it Shakespearean, know thyself, okay? Know
yeah,
thyself. Simple.
yeah. Well, I'm just so tired of people making fun of. I was raised religious, of going to church and getting dressed up, and it was a good. I think it makes you a good person. You
Yeah.
learn right from wrong, and don't do that because you might not get to heaven. Well, I still want to go to heaven. I still
Yeah.
try to do things that I learned in church. When everybody is just so self-centered, if you don't have a belief, then it becomes, what is your belief? Yourself? Nothing
Mm.
matters but you. So you
Yeah.
can't really be good. Like, I know people. Well, I know good people that are atheists. I don't know any good atheists. I know some agnostics that doubt it, But if you don't believe in something bigger than you, how can you not be just a self-centered prick?
Well, I do know some atheists who are, I can tolerate, but and like you were saying, like I don't like I was raised Roman Catholic. I was confirmed. I went to communion and was confirmed, and it not like I never meet anybody like you meet those some of the really people like they're against gays, okay, because but you know what, and they but listen, that's who they are. As a comic, I know not everybody in the audience is going to like me. So if I was gay, I'd
Yeah,
have to understand that probably not everybody's going to like me. And that's the one thing I said this years ago on the podcast. Like, there's not one group of people that isn't hated by somebody, and that's
yeah,
just the way the world is. And whether it's not right to do, hate's wrong. And you know what? It's good because it ruins your own life. The minute you feel hate, it creates like a cancer in your own body, and that's something each person has to deal with, right? So. But at the same time, if somebody has faith and they believe in that stuff, they feel that homosexuality is whether it's a sin or I joke around. I said it's kind of like the Matrix. It's like a bad file that's a combination of vanity and lust. Like over the
yeah,
centuries and centuries of humanity, when you have all these seven sins kind of like going on, and that's what Jesus came. He wanted to cleanse our world of sin, and he came back. And so that's what happens. You have all these generations of people and taboos and the lust and the vanity and all this shit. It rubs off, and what do you have? What comes from it? These kind of things come
yeah,
from it. And it doesn't mean
yeah,
the person who's gay is evil. It doesn't mean that. All that means is this is how I think about it. I'm not going to, I have to worry about myself going to heaven. If you don't believe in it and stuff, then I'm not worried about you, I'm not, but at the
yeah.
same
I'm
time,
just
I'm not
trying
going
to
to
get
treat,
there.
I'm not going to treat you like shit because then I'm not going. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to
Right.
forgive, understand, and be intolerant and all those good things by means. But good for you, right? But don't fucking dare tell me that the way I think, like that's the hypocrisy that amazes me when people like say, oh, you're just like when somebody says, oh, you're just another Trumper, you only feel this way, okay. And so, in other words, you think it's okay to generalize somebody because of one aspect. It's you're okay. You're saying this person's bad because of this one aspect. Isn't that like racism? You're judging somebody on
Yeah,
one aspect of something, and it's
yeah.
just hypocritical. It's like you don't even make sense.
Well, it's typically all hypocritical from the other side. And really, because like you said, judging by one thing. Well, if you'd have said, but some race might be lazy. What? Well, I'm just
Yeah,
saying one person I met one time was,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, but they're going to
exactly.
change that. Like you could say, well, I don't like the leather chaps on at a gay parade. Well, not all gays
Yeah,
are like that. Well, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I don't
yeah,
like that in public.
yeah,
See,
yeah,
you're not we're not allowed to not like anything.
yeah, yeah. We can unlike everything because of one thing, but you're not allowed to like anything, any one thing.
Yeah,
Uh, why are Dems so excited about Kamala Harris?
because it's not Trump. I mean, Biden.
Exactly.
That's the only reason. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
they were propping him up. They saw him fall. They went, "Oh shit! Wait, Kamala, we have a chance. We have a chance." See, that's all.
but
That's
but you
all
know
it
what's
is.
even funny about that when it became evident that Biden would when it was
No way.
when the writing was on the wall, they were going,
Yeah,
"Oh, how are we going to replace Kamala?" And they were thinking about it. They were. They're all
I
going,
know.
"Well, she ain't going to do it." And then when they realized, "Well, we're not going to get any of the campaign funds. We're not going to have any of that money that was raised. We're really going to have an issue, and we can't tell a black woman she can't run for president." I'm like, "Oh, we're going to really lose." So they were forced into it. Well, this is the best we got. So let's spruce it up, everybody.
Yeah,
Let's put lipstick on the pig. Let's tout
yeah.
this thing like crazy, and let's get stallions and all kinds of famous people like this unbelievable white dudes on like oh my god, how
White
fucking
dudes for
pathetic.
Harris.
Oh
Those are the most embarrassing men I've ever seen in my life. I mean, did you see some of the, I watched some clips of it and they're like, I cried on my
oh
daughter's bed, like
yeah.
get out of here.
Yeah. And here's the thing I'll tell you. Listen, if you guys want to be spiteful, I'll be spiteful. Everybody who's appeared in that fucking video, I will never pay money to see or anything they're a part of. How do you like that? Um, like the guy who was in Rudy, the guy who was in Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings, he was Sam Ganji,
Yeah.
right? What the fuck
Yeah.
was he saying? He's like, a concept of men getting together and talking. Amazing concept. Well, maybe if you weren't such a fucking putz and you had friends, you know what that's like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you were, maybe
It's just,
that's what's called the powwow. Men used to sit around a campfire and drink
yeah,
beer and spit and fart and talk about stuff. But oh no, that's too masculine. We don't do that anymore.
yeah. I'd rather sit in my wife's beckoning call. Um, Not that that would be bad. I did the same thing, but at the same time, I hung out with the guys. It's just pathetic.
But the
Should
one that hurt my heart was the dude, Bo Bridges.
oh,
That one
yeah,
actually hurt because I'm like, no, he's one of my favorite actors. Now I have to hate him too.
yeah. It's just amazing. And of course, how about when Shift? You see his Shift goes on there. He's oh my god, that guy. I mean, I hope Steve Garvey beats his ass in Democrat and gets rid of him in
Oh
Congress.
please,
Enough
yeah,
of him. Um, so here's a question: should Trump debate Kamala?
no. No,
No.
because why would you want to do that? You're already ahead. She's an idiot. It's kind of like arguing on social media. If you argue with an idiot, they're going to drag you down there somehow, some way. So why
Yeah.
you're ahead? You're smarter. Let her go out and just say whatever and hang. It's like
Well,
Rush Limbaugh used to say why he would let liberals come on and talk. He said because you let them talk long enough, they're going to hang themselves. And
right.
that's what I think Trump should just let go out there, start just spewing shit.
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean, part of me, I can see the liberals saying, "Well, he's scared because she was a prosecutor and stuff." I mean, for God's sakes, Tulsi Gabbard destroyed her in the debates in 2016.
Yeah.
So and she's not a lawyer, but she's a smart woman. And I would love to see it, but I just think that I think he would easily like expose her. I think he would really bring out that stupid shit because he's going to say, "Oh, you're not the czar. Where were you? The janitor?" Like you could see him kind of going through that. I don't
Right.
know.
But he doesn't have the media. But he doesn't have the media on his side. So
Right.
anything could be done and clipped to like, see, she
Yeah.
got him with this one. See what that, or like see where he was mumbling. She got him all
Yeah.
tongue tied. You know.
Yeah. I'd like to see it. I asked you this already, but I don't know if you answered. But how many people have you unfriended on Facebook recently?
Recently, a whole lot. I can't
Yeah.
give you an exact number, but I would say probably 15 or 20 at least.
Yeah.
Because I did the
Yeah.
same thing. Like, I'm not arguing with you. When I'm scrolling and somebody like even has a post that I like, no, I'm not with
Yeah.
her. You're out. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, like exactly the picture of her. And the one that was getting me was the funny post, the meme that was going around for a while was, you need to be careful of the things you say about women around your children.
Oh,
They're going to
yeah.
pick up all this. Remember that meme? And I said, oh, but it was okay to call somebody Hitler. It's okay to call the president
Yeah.
of the United States Hitler and the destroyer of democracy. You're okay with that, right? And then what do they say?
Yeah.
Well, he was. It's like, okay, so everything I'm saying is completely invalid and everything you say is valid. So what kind of argument are we going to get into? You know what I mean?
Well,
And then I had one comment.
here's what I hated about that meme was that it was a way to tell you to just shut up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because don't criticize because somebody will hear it. So it's
Yeah.
a woman, don't criticize, she's always right. So again,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to like don't criticize
Yeah.
Kamala. Why? Because she's black? No, because she's a fuck up. you know
Yeah. Yeah. It goes down to the same thing like during the Floyd days, George Floyd. Well, you can't, it got to the point where you can't arrest a black man or a black person if they're committing a crime. You just can't because if you
yeah.
do, you're going to get in trouble for it.
And you knew there's going to be a riot in your
Unbelievable.
town.
Exactly. We did talk about the Biden with the term limits. That ain't going to happen. He's a lame duck president. He isn't doing shit. And I can assure you right now, he's blowing bubbles. I mean, his condition is worsening day by day. It's going to escalate even further. That's why we don't see much of him anymore.
Well,
But it's not going to happen.
I think he's got worse because of It's like now, not only did he have to deal with dementia, he's got to deal with the depression of them going,
Yeah.
look, you dumbass, you mental
Yeah.
midget, you are out. But I still want
Yeah.
to run. You're too stupid. Get out.
Yeah.
Now he's
And
got
now
to
I
like,
guess he's probably got a lot of the pressure now because he knows he doesn't have control of his son's case. They're probably going to try to keep him so he can try to pardon him. And I heard this is a conspiracy theory I thought was interesting, but China was he was getting certain medications from China regarding his dementia, and now that he's no longer useful, they're giving him the medicine, but it's not the same. That's why his condition worsened so much. And they had given him the medication when he did the State of the Union. That's why he was so like some sort of
yeah.
elixir or whatever it was, like some
Yeah, he was all on
neurostimulant.
fire at State of the Union. Yeah.
Fuck. And the one thing he would like the angry Joe. He goes, yeah, and then he goes. I mean, enough of this. I can't. Listen, God, listen. I may leave the country if Kamala's president. If I got to see that witch on TV and her fucking giggling and shit, you know what I mean? It's just not.
Well,
it's just horrible.
Well, here's another one of my conspiracy theories for you. We were all really pissed off about Biden winning. Trump should have had it. Probably, yes, he was probably stolen. But now you look back on it, this might have been part of the universe or God's plan. Because if Biden had not gotten in there, we wouldn't have seen all the stuff we've seen, all the lies, all the stuff that's been
Yeah.
exposed. Liberals are even kind of looking at, hey, the media has been lying to us.
Yeah.
This is like a weird awakening. And Trump's going, I told you, I'll come back and fix it if you want me to. Yes, please come back and fix. Do you see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like maybe it was
Yeah.
necessary for us to see, like, God, man, our government and media is lying to us.
Yeah. It's like when you have a comic in the green room bragging about how funny they are and all the places they've been and who they've opened for, and then they go on stage and eat a dick. And then you're like, well,
Yeah.
good. Now we know. Like, you know what I mean? Everything that person said is just completely gone. Like, there's nothing they can say going further that would do that or change anything like that. And of course, the isn't the new Democratic talking point they weird? Like they're calling everybody weird. When Eric Swalwell sits there and calls people weird, the guy who fucked a Chinese spy, calling people weird, and there's some people even on the Democratic side that are saying it's a bad idea. Like, they're going from the deplorables, to the Hitler, and now they're going to weird. Like it's weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Meanwhile,
weird.
Their supporters have blue hair. They've got, they look like complete fucking weirdos
while driving alone.
Yeah, exactly. They're in a car by themselves and they have a mask on, or they're outside riding a bike with a mask.
He's weird.
Like that's not. Yeah, we're weird. Okay.
Yeah, I have a full beard and I'm a dress. Can't you say I'm a woman? Hey, that's not weird.
No, that's not weird at all. You know what I mean?
That's not weird.
Oh God.
Well, that's why I started hashtag Weird Pride.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Twitter, I'm hashtagging everything Weird Pride.
And what's not far off weird is nerds. So if the Democrats now are against nerds, then the half their party is. I mean, come on. I mean, weird is nerdy. Well, it's the same thing.
Well, what's weird is why would they label us weird? Heterosexual, family member, God-fearing, but you turn around and look back toward you. You got a guy stealing luggage from airports in your cabinet. You've got a trans woman in a military uniform. Your side's a little weird.
Yeah,
exactly. Should they have noticed that before they started? They're gonna. Should that have been like they're going to turn this around on us? Was there any kind of meeting, like a brand meeting?
No, it sounds good. Let's use it. And our last question: will Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce get married, or are they going to break up?
Well, I think they're going to break up, but they may end up doing the marriage thing just as a publicity. You know what I mean? Like. Kind of like when Louis Anderson got married, just kind of like, see, we got married.
Yeah. Hint, hint. Well, I have a philosophy. The Antichrist will walk the earth, and my first thought was if Meghan Markle and Prince Harry had a baby, I thought that was going to be the Antichrist. But then I was
Yeah.
thinking the Antichrist will definitely come from Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Right?
that I
Those
can
two
see
fucking
that.
right. Because the baby's going to come out speaking French and playing guitar and being able to run a 40-yard
You're
dash in
gonna hate
4 seconds.
pancake.
you know, goodness gracious. All right. It's time to move to Did You Hear? This is where we bring up stories from around the world and wonder if you've actually heard about it. I love karma and I love when bad things happen to bad people. But our first story is Muslim Olympian in howling pain moments after snubbing Israeli opponent. This guy, he didn't shake the hands of the Israeli judo partner, and you're supposed to shake hands before every match. He didn't. He was
Uh-huh.
dismissive of him, and then he beat. Unfortunately, he beat the Israeli fighter. His next match was against a Japanese guy who slammed him down so hard he completely broke his shoulder.
Yes.
So there you go. You know what I mean? It just happens that easy.
Karma.
Exactly. Our next story, the moon is slowly drifting away from the earth, and it's beginning to impact us. Yeah, just look at some of the weirdness happening on the Democratic Party.
That's weird.
It's weird. The moon is
Weird.
moving away. The moon has had enough of this earth. I think the
And they're
moon is moving
saying
away. Go ahead.
in 4 billion years it will
yeah.
affect us. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? They never add that part to the story. They always say the moon
Yeah.
is drifting. Then you read the article, it's like, in a 14 million years.
yeah, it's like global warming. The seas will rise, and by now, if you go back to what they were saying, what was it? The guy who ran against Bush, the guy who said he invented the internet, Gore,
Oh
Al
yeah.
Gore. According to what he was
Yeah.
saying back in the late '90s, we would have been flooded out already. Listen, I'm not a denier. I think that definitely there is global. I think the Earth is getting hotter. There's no doubt about it. I think there's more people on the Earth, so there's more damage, and the insurance companies are going to have issues and stuff. As a money guy, I know this is true, and backing all of it. But with solar flares and they're talking about the Earth's core is slowed so much it's turning the other way. Everything in the
Yeah.
middle of the Earth, all that molten shit is turning the other way, and you know what? We could just all this global warming shit could just be a fact that they want to keep us away from the truth, which is eventually the Earth's going to slip its axis. So that mold's going to happen a certain way, and that's going to cause a deluge. It's like if you have water on a plate and you just slowly go like this, but
Yeah.
if you change direction, the water goes out, and that's where the floods have always come from these shifts in a polar.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to keep our attention away from that.
Well, one
Listen, I
thing
think
that I keep finding weird is that they talk about the CO2, like the CO2. Well, you don't plants need that to turn it into oxygen.
yeah.
So maybe why don't we just plant more trees? I mean,
Yeah.
like if you
Well, the big part of that, the destruction of the rainforest. That's always been a big issue.
yeah,
I read a bunch of stuff too. That was helping a lot of that, and with so much population growth. And I think, listen, there's too many people on this earth. I'm as the Illuminati would say, the COVID was just a way to try to get rid of people. Wars are just ways to try to get rid of people. Control the
yeah,
population, but they're not. They're not controlling it. I think. Listen, I think the
but
moon
there's
is
so
moving away. I think the moon is moving away because it can't stop. It can't stand watching The View. They got to take the fucking View off
I have had
TV.
enough of this. I am out.
Yeah. Moon. You want moons? Okay. Well, take Joey Behar and that fat Whoopi Goldberg off of my TV set. And by the way, she got done saying that to us. She was like, if you didn't like the Olympic opening, just turn the TV off. That was her fucking solution, right?
Yeah,
Well, if you don't
yeah.
like Trump, just don't listen to him. Like, if you hate him so much, then just don't listen to him, bitch. You know what I mean? If you're going to do that shit, you hate Trump so much, just don't fucking listen to him.
Use your
You know?
philosophy. Yeah, like doesn't your like we didn't like watch what doesn't your TV have an off switch? Like that's all it
yeah.
takes. Well, then just stop
Yeah.
listening to Trump. Just do the
Exactly. Speaking of accidents, Ohio jail accidentally frees murder suspect because of a typo. This young gentleman was going to go in for murder, but because a case number had a 6 instead of an 8, they let him go. Can you imagine? He's sitting there going, "What? I can go? Are you punking me?" They let the
Really?
fucking now
Really?
they can't find the guy. Yeah, they let him go. They had the wrong case file. Somebody transcribed the wrong fucking case number. Instead of an 8, it was a 0 or 1, or vice versa. And that guy was going to go free. So this guy's sitting there going, all
Okay,
right, all pissed off.
that kind of technicality is bullshit, and we know that. You know what I mean? I understand if some evidence was logged in wrong, like that's not the right knife. That's not the knife that was used. But just a typo, we all
Yeah.
have to go. Well, that was a, what I mean. You know what I mean? I understand in a court where you feel like, aha, you introduced the wrong knife, or that was not the gun that was used. Throw it out.
Yeah.
But one
Yeah.
typo, can't everybody go? That was a typo. That was just a
Yes. Oops.
typo.
As they say in Russia, oopski. And and yeah, but you know what? And now the guy, they have to find him. They have U.S. Marshals trying to find the guy and shit. Meanwhile, there's some clerk, somebody going, oop, probably banging the guy. Now here,
Probably.
this is a great story. Sharks off Brazil coast test positive for cocaine. I guess they're hanging around those
That bear.
sea turtles, with the fucking straws. I mean, you know what I mean? The
I
sharks
hadn't
and the
thought
sea
about
turtles are
that.
getting
Those
the
turtles with the
sea.
straws.
Yeah, they started hanging out together. Bad company,
They've
The
been
sharks are
finding
like,
those
"Hey, I'm going to hang
bales
out with
from
this."
Cuba.
Yeah, they're all dumping their shit in the ocean. Can you imagine the ocean? We had nuclear waste during it was a Fukushima, or during the
Yeah.
fucking the earthquake in Japan. All this nuclear waste, no problem, no problem. All of a sudden, now cocaine off the coast of Brazil and South America. All the sharks are staying up late and can't get a boner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just it's you know,
Speaking of which, isn't it odd that all that nuclear waste, we never hear about it at all anymore? Ever? Like, oh, it's horrible. It's what? Hey, look over there. There's other stuff. Like,
yeah, and yeah, and
obviously,
just
if it was nuclear waste,
it
it has
wasn't
to
too
be
long ago.
creating.
Yeah, there wasn't too long ago they talked about in Japan they had to release all the water that was there, the dead water, from coolants and shit that were
Yeah.
barreled up. They had to dispose of it, and they were talking about it. So then if you want to order sushi in Japan, you can actually order the glow roll in Japan. There's a
The
fucking
glow roll.
my fish is a lit up. It's a lit up like a light bulb. Um, Unbelievable. Yeah. So
My tilapia has two heads. We're not charging you extra.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. I don't have a tuna. I have two tuna. Crazy. This is a great story. Thief drops wallet while fleeing Wisconsin mall, returns to destroy the store when denied her wallet back. Hey, I got to get my wallet back. So fucking comes back after
What?
stealing all this shit from
Again,
a
how
store.
stupid are you to go, I was trying to rob this place, but I better go
Yeah.
get my wallet.
She goes to the customer service desk. Excuse me. Earlier, when I was robbing this place, I seem to have left my wallet. You got a lost and found here? And before anybody gives me shit about talking, I saw the woman, and that's the great voice. That's a perfect voice for her. I won't mention what race she was, but um, she was. I mean, I came back for my wallet. I don't want somebody else to steal it. Oh my god.
I have returned to claim my pocketbook. That's the
Yeah.
way you should be saying it. That way it becomes less, you know.
Yes. Let's just. I saw the woman. Trust me, that's the way she speaks. Um, Now, you appreciate this as a guy who does metal detection. Treasure hunter finds heartbreaking note buried in the sand on the beach. Profoundly sad. He finds this locket. It turns out it was the remains of a young man that died, and a note uh, to about finding who was in there. You ever find a
Yeah,
locket?
I love that the mom who did it said, "This is my son. Please put it back." Did, did you read the whole lecture? Whoever finds this
Yeah,
is the please put it back. Like, who's
yeah,
gonna go? Wow, I'm gonna take these ashes home.
yeah.
That's how horror
Uh,
movies start, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. She goes, yeah. The person who found it, yeah, I did put them back. Wrote the Redditor, read the person who found it, who deduced from the sparse amounts of ashes that she placed other makeshift urns at the deceased's favorite places. Yeah, it wasn't a full body. You know what I mean? Spreading the ashes in
Yeah.
various different places. Um, you know, you have final requests. You have your directives in place, Mr. McGrew.
Yeah, I want to be buried with acorns in my pocket. Just just stick me in the dirt and let me turn into fertilizer, and there'll be a tree, and people can come sit. I'll be like the giving tree, like that's Dad right there. That's
Yeah,
yeah.
I,
And
I
now
already
I
have
read
my spot.
recently there's actually a company that will do that. They'll put you in a pod with seeds.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. I'm actually got my spot next to my wife here in Simpsonville. The question though is, will I be cremated or just put me in a casket? So I'm still thinking about it, to be
Go with the
honest.
cremation. That's what we
Yeah,
did. That's what we did with my mom and dad. We buried dad first, and then mom was like, when knew it was coming, like, just cremate me and pour me on top of your dad's ash. Like, just no reason to spend all that money on, just I'll
yeah,
be there. So that's what
yeah.
we ended up doing.
It's so weird. Like it's even hard. Like when I go to see my wife, it's hard when I'm there. It's hard to do. I go once a month at least now, but I'm there, and it's a good moment. I spent about an hour, couple hours there maybe, but man, it's so tough to do, to go
Do
do
you
that.
so you do that? I've never heard you mention that before. But there's a guy. My brother was telling me because he goes to my dad's grave more because it's down in Texas. That there's a guy that comes and he sits in a chair with a little portable radio and sometimes has a little portable TV and just sits out there like he's spending time with his wife. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or bad. You know?
Well, exactly. I mean, I've gone there. Like my wife's friend Lisa lives here. Like we on, I think it was on New Year's, we went there with some champagne. So we poured some champagne on her grave, and we drank. We had a toast there. I go there. I just tell her everything. I just sit there and have it like she is there. I mean, I do that. My new bit now on stage is she's there with me, because the new bit I'm doing is like they
Yeah,
always say she's with you. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And so now I'll have her talk like I'm ventriloquist, and shit like, oh
yeah,
yeah, this is me, and it's fucking funny.
yeah.
By the way, it's all new shit.
How
I
come
can't
you
wait to do
never
it
make
more.
that move on me? You never use that move
Yeah.
on me.
Yeah, I'm actually went out with this woman to dinner. My wife's sitting there go, oh, you take her to steakhouse. You took me to Applebee's. Look at you, bigger spender. Like, honey, I didn't have money back then when we met. I have money now. Like, oh yeah, life insurance pay you well. um. Anyway, our last story: blind mystic Baba Vanga says the end times will commence in 2025. This guy did predict 9/11. And you want to hear some of his predictions?
Yes.
Our first prediction is that Steve Mudflap McGrew will work at Looney Bin again in 2020. I was kidding. What the fuck? Where
Yes.
you going back, buddy? Um, where I had it. Wait a minute. This is. Oh my god. There we go. All right. Let's see. This guy's blind, but he can see. All right, here's some of the predictions. In 2025, a conflict in Europe will devastate the continent's population. Well, that was 2 years ago. It started. 2028, humans will begin to explore Venus as an energy source.
Oh.
Hmm.
Oh.
In
How are we going to do that?
2033, the 20 yeah, exactly. In 2033, the polar ice caps will melt, raising sea levels to drastic heights worldwide. Get your surfboards, everybody. Um, in 2076, communism will spread to countries across the world. Putin
Well,
will
I can
still be
see
alive.
that.
In 2130, humans will make alien contact, and it won't be at the southern border of the United States. 2170, a drought will devastate much of the world. You know what? It's sand. You know what'll be in 1,000 years? It'll be fucking sand. Love that
Move
fucking
where
joke.
the food is.
In 3005, Earth will go to war with a civilization on Mars. That little guy from fucking Bugs Bunny. Yeah, I'll shoot you with my
Yeah.
ray gun. In
Oh,
3797,
that makes
humans
me
will have to
very
vacate.
angry.
In 3797, humans will have to vacate Earth because it becomes uninhabitable. See, so like AOC was saying, we're all going to die in 6 or 12 years anyway. So she's way off. That's
Yeah,
that's that's
yeah.
that's a millennials, right?
Well, from listening to this guy's predictions, and you said he got 9/11, right?
Yeah,
Now, a broken clock is right
yeah,
twice.
yeah,
So
yeah,
this guy he got one right. Ooh.
yeah. And the last prediction is the world will end in 5079. So be sure to go to patriots.com and get your food packets now. And
Because
your
they
and
will
your
last
and your
5,000 years.
yeah. There was an ad. It was so funny on Facebook. There was an ad. Some girls going, "You guys, if MP3s are dropped on us in World War China, while you guys are fighting over food, I'm going to have my phone." And I wrote on this thing on Facebook. It's an ad. I go, "So if MP3s are dropped all over our country, and you have like this solar powered phone charger and shit, do you think cell towers
Yeah,
are going to work? You fucking idiot! Like what? Who's going to buy this stupid
yeah,
fucking thing?"
yeah.
I'm glad I got this solar power phone charger when fucking everything hits and my phone doesn't even work. You know, I'm gonna.
Because the electricity that runs the phone tower is, yeah. I got you.
Yeah, and guess what? They're still going to be doing TV shows in LA when there's a fucking MP3 blown up. You're still going to be listening to radio, and there's still going to be disc jockeys fucking playing music and shit while there's Armageddon going on. But you got your solar
Yeah,
powered fucking charger, you idiot. Oh, this fucking place, just unbelievable.
that was one of the loopholes of I think I Am Legend with Will Smith was like there were still like radio broadcasts and stuff. Like
Yeah.
getting. Isn't everything gone, or is this just a nice little thing in the movie where I've got one radio station that's still working? Well, how come nobody else has got electricity?
Well, that's I really believe in those like crank radios, like because if there's like a major geographical area that's fucked up, there'll still be people like, but like
Yeah,
but if that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I got some food stuff. I got like a bit of a package. I've got cash. I got some gold. That in
I
case
got
gold coins
spam.
if anything happens. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? I got some things. I got but they listen. And the real question is, does anybody want to live in a post-apocalyptic world? There it is. He's surviving. He's a survivor. All these people. When Armageddon hits, Steve, all these people are going to be outside your house. Give me your spam. I want some of that spam.
You've got Vienna sausages.
I just ate my foot. I got to eat something. Anyway, well, that's all we have time for here on the Wake Up Late with Dougie show. I want to thank my good friend Steve
Oh,
McGrew for joining us today.
well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Hey, I just wanted to show you this before you go, though.
Oh my
Look
goodness.
at that. I've always wanted one of these. It's an actual Bowie knife,
Yeah,
and it came up in an ad on Facebook, and I've always wanted one of those. Look at the
that's
size
nice.
of this thing.
God,
So
don't cut your don't
I
cut your
just
ear. Nobody would believe you cut your ear with that big fucking thing. It couldn't have cut his ear; it would have chopped his whole head off. Oh
yeah.
man. Well, there you go. What's
So yeah,
coming
I
up
just
for you,
want to
Steve?
prove I'm a man. I got a big knife.
Here's my proof I'm a man. I just pulled this out of my old black belt.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's nice. What's that
yeah,
say
my.
on there? There's some
this
kind of
says
writing.
Taekwondo. That's Korean Taekwondo, and that's my name, Douglas Almeida. And
Oh,
then this was my instructor belt, Instructor Almeida.
instructor.
See, I
Oh.
can't even touch my toes anymore, but I got a black belt. There you go. All right, my friend. Where can they find you? Where can people get a hold of you? Where can they find out more about you, Steve McGrew?
I say just Google Steve Mudflap McGrew because I'm on every, you know, one of those Gabriel, Twitter, any of that. I'm all of it. I'm addicted.
There you go. As for me, you can find me at Dougie Dangerous. And on TikTok, you can find me at Dougie Dangerous with a Y. And on Instagram, on X, you can find me at Dougie Danger. I think we just changed that there. There we go. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ben. Aside from that, this Friday, I'm going to be in Easley, South Carolina at Amici's, along with my buddy David Zasloff and a couple other people. So if you're in Easley, go to Amici's this Friday for a show. And I'll have a week off or so, but I got a bunch of dates. Go to DougieAlmeida.com for all the dates coming up. A lot of great shows coming. But other than that, guys, God bless. Be honest and don't be a hypocrite. And own up when you fuck up, okay? If you make a mistake, accept it. Everybody's human. You'll fuck up every once in a while. So aside from that, God bless. Stay good and stay well. And we'll see you here next time at the same spot.
Wake up.